2023 was a year to remember in film. Let's do our annual Raiders of the Lost Oscars ceremony.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast, and this is the yearly episode where we pick our Oscar winners. This is our awards.
Raiders of the Lost Oscars. Let's do this.
Let's
so
go.
excited. 2023 was an incredible year for film. We had massive hits, some of the biggest movies of the century, some of the best movies of the century, and just great independent film from studios like A24, as well as just Universal killing it with Oppenheimer. We have Barbie with Warner Brothers. It was a great year at the box office for many studios. Some studios, it was not a great year, but overall, we got an excellent spread of amazing...
A buffet
of great filmmaking all year. All year, really.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
And even Apple TV's in the mix with Killers of the Flower Moon. This is one of their best films that they've ever produced. And I think that this is the strongest year we've seen for cinematography in a few years. The cinematography, it's even hard to choose a winner, but all 5 nominees are very deserving, as well as this is a really great year for lead actor. Also lead actress. Lead actress could go multiple ways at the actual Oscars. We have our pick, and they're obviously having favorites, but...
You never know what happens when we open those envelopes, Anthony.
Yeah, exactly.
We never know what happened.
And directing, I mean, we got Yorgos Lanthimos, Jonathan Glazer, Justine Triet, obviously Chris Nolan, Scorsese. Like, what a great mix of films and filmmakers from all over the world. Just amazing. And this international feature films, we got great picks. Makeup and hairstyling, it's great. Music, we had some great, incredible original scores, as well as the icon, the legend, John Williams, getting nominated for his 600th Oscar.
Do you have the most nominations in history?
He could have the most nominations in history. It's possible. I'll have to look into that, but I'm not sure.
It's got to be like 15 or 16 at this point.
I think he's over 20 nominations.
Is he over 20?
Yeah, definitely over 20.
Holy crap.
He made a couple of good songs.
Yeah.
He's made some good stuff.
Walt Disney had a lot of nominations as well.
Yes, Walt Disney did have, because he was like a producer, a writer, director.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he was built an empire and it's changed a lot. But, this is one of my favorite episodes we do every year because we get to pick the winners. Because I love watching the Oscars. I like watching the BAFTAs. But then sometimes people win or sometimes people don't win. I'm like, why?
It's not my Oscars.
Like, why hasn't Christopher Nolan won a Best Director Oscar yet? Why?
Yeah, and every year there's snubs. And every year, there's like that one movie that doesn't get a lot of love. I think this year is The Iron Claw. And last year, the year in 2022, obviously Decision to Leave didn't get any awards love. So
we gave it tons of love.
We gave it Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Editing.
Yeah, editing was
And I
terrific.
think we gave it Best Picture, too.
But we nominated her for a lot of categories.
As it deserved to be nominated for. But this year is just a really incredible year all around for film. I don't see 2024 competing with 2023 at all.
At all.
Not even close.
Take away Dune Part 2, this year is a wash.
It's a wash.
Already a wash.
Especially with Bong Joon-ho's film coming out in 2025 now.
I know, I'm so bummed because Mickey 17 was supposed to come out. Mickey 7, the book's Mickey 17. Mickey 7 was supposed to come out in March, originally 2024, but now it's been pushed to January 2025. We still got Gladiator 2. We still have Nosferatu. We have lots of bangers coming out this year.
Nosferatu, I have high hopes for.
Very excited about.
Maybe a horror film can get some Oscars love.
Maybe
We'll
like
see.
production design and wardrobe and costuming, stuff like that.
Speaking of horror, I don't think 2023 was a super strong year for horror.
No, it was compared to 2022.
Yeah.
It was an
2022
absurdly strong year for horror. 2023 was kind of weak year for horror.
Yeah, it was kind of a weak year for horror. There were a couple of good ones, but overall, 2022 was a really great year for the horror genre.
There were 5 very good horror movies in 2022.
That's the thing that was missing this year. Horror. That was really missing.
They emptied the magazine.
I missed horror.
2022.
But we got plenty of horror filmmakers coming out this year. But let's get into our Raiders of the Lost Oscar. Now we're going to do the awards in the same order as the Academy does with their nominations. And we're using, if we didn't say before, we're using the nominees of the Oscars. So we're not nominating our own things. We're doing their nominees and picking our winners based upon the Academy's voting.
Yes, Anthony and I were just like too lazy to come up with our own nominees. So we just took it from the Academy and their nominees.
We stole it.
So it's basically
I literally copy and pasted from their website.
It's basically the Oscars, except me and Anthony are on stage, and we are picking the awards.
Honestly, that would be a good show.
That would be an entertaining.
That would be a great show.
Oscars, hit us up.
Come
if
on.
you want us to host
We
your
would
show,
crush it.
We would get so many views.
It would be so funny.
Yeah.
We would crush the fucking shit out of
That'd
that.
be a blast, man.
Oh, man. We get
They
highest
should
ratings.
recommend us.
Honestly,
Someone recommend us to the Oscars for hosting their show.
Honestly.
I know we don't have much street cred in Hollywood right now, but
People are going to watch no matter what. But
People would watch it.
once we get talking, get a couple jokes in, people will be like, oh, this is actually entertaining for once.
wow, a funny show.
Oh, people are having a good time. Yay. All right, let's get into the first category of actor in a leading role.
Best actor.
Best actor. Not the worst, the best.
The best actor, not just
Not the okayest.
ambiguous actor in the leading
Not
role.
the pretty good actor in a
Who
leading
was
role.
an actor in the leading role this year? We'll give an award to someone.
All right, the nominees, as I said, are very strong. We have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
Great job, everybody.
Amazing work
Gentlemen,
from
excellent
these incredible gentlemen.
It's a tough category because obviously Cillian's a front runner, but Bradley and Maestro, Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction, everyone did a great job, Domingo and Rustin. So, I mean, I know who my favorite is, but I think just...
I just want to say, I think Bradley Cooper just got so much unwarranted hate, and people were just mocking him all over the internet for
It was
months.
weird. Maestro's a weird reaction for fans.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I don't
audiences.
understand the reaction to it because I thought he was brilliant. People were making like jokes about like how committed he was. Like, let the guy commit to a role, and
He's an actor.
and he really did conduct the orchestra, and that was just an amazing achievement. And I found the directing and the acting and the cinematography of Maestro to be incredible and absolutely astounding and very impressive. And I think that Bradley has solidified his status as one of the most artistic directors working in Hollywood to this day with Maestro. It's really an unbelievable achievement all around from him. And I was so impressed with him. And I'm so happy that he pulled it off. And he made a different kind of biopic film, which is why I think people didn't react well to it. But you can't deny the guy is so talented, and his performance was unbelievable.
And Paul Giamatti is The Holdovers, one of my favorite performances of the year. His career best, hands down.
Yeah.
He's terrific in this movie. And did you know that the lazy eye was fake? It was a contact lens, because there's a lot of confusion. People think he's like, wait, does he actually have a lazy eye? It's a lens, so it's not real.
I will say, after I watched the film, I looked through photos of him. I was like, does he have a real lazy eye?
I know, me
Because
too.
it looks
I was
that
like,
good.
maybe he does.
He said that his childhood best friend, who he's known for like 40 years and still is best friends with, saw the film, was like, and his friend was like, do you really have a lazy eye?
Have
And
I
I
never noticed?
never noticed it. That was great.
All right,
It
but
worked
only
so well.
one actor can win
Only one.
this category, Anthony. Who is it?
We have I Am Become Death, Destroyer of Worlds, Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. It's an otherworldly performance. I put it in the top 5 performances of the century so far. It's that impactful, that powerful. He's always had the potential to lead a film of this magnitude and create a performance that audiences around the world would love. He already did something like of the sort with Peaky Blinders, but to see him working on this scale with this kind of artistic virtuosity, I think that Cillian was just absolutely otherworldly as Robert Oppenheimer.
Let's move into our next category. Best actor in a supporting role.
Get
For
the boys.
nominees, we have Sterling K. Brown from American Fiction, Robert De Niro from Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. Another tough category.
This is
to
a stacked
choose from.
one.
Absolutely stacked. We have one of the best all time with De Niro here. Gosling getting an Oscar nomination. Downey, who's been nominated a few times but has never won. Sterling K. Brown is terrific in American Fiction. Mark Ruffalo is a delight in Poor Things. He's
He's
so fun.
so funny in that.
He's
so
hysterical in that role. His accent in it is really terrific. So I think these are all deserving nominees, and especially Ryan Gosling for Barbie, because he was such an entertaining part of that film.
And he was so committed to it.
He really was.
He put everything into it.
He was a perfect Ken.
And De Niro, he brought it in Killers. He brought that fucking shit, man. He was all over the place, and he was incredible in that movie. Absolutely earth-shattering performance.
The winner for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, finally, Robert Downey Jr. wins an Academy Award, or Raiders of the Lost Oscar.
It's the Raiders of the Lost Oscar, yeah.
Wins Raider.
Congrats, Robert.
Don't clap too loud into the mic. People are listening on headphones and stuff. Sorry, everybody, for Anthony messing up your eardrums right now.
I just get so excited.
He's just like punching the microphone with his hands. Robert Downey Jr. is absolutely sensational in Oppenheimer. He's an all-time actor. I just feel like the 21st century, because of doing so many MCU movies, being the face of the MCU, a lot of people maybe forgot how good of an actor he was. Not that he's not great as Tony Stark, but he is insanely talented. And obviously before the 21st century, he was in so many incredible roles, and he was nominated for Chaplin, which he could have won for sure. But I'm so happy to see Robert Downey Jr. finally win an Oscar for an incredible performance as Louis Strauss.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him where he was saying that of all the awards he hoped he would win, the Raiders of the Lost Oscar was the top of his list.
I saw that. It was on Variety, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, next up we have actress in a leading role. A very talented set of actresses. Here we have Annette Bening with Niad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Another incredible list of performers. People that really struck to me were Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall. I saw both of her films in one day. I saw Anatomy of a Fall in the morning, and then I saw The Zone of Interest at night on the same day.
It's a big day.
It was quite the double feature.
How were you emotionally after watching both of those?
I don't know. I can't even describe it.
You were the shell of a human being. You just had nothing inside of you anymore.
And it was amazing to see her with such varied performances and such contrasting tones as a performer. It was just incredible to see that on screen from her. She's going to blow up in a big way the next few years.
MCU's going to snag her for something.
Yeah. Carey Mulligan is sensational, to no surprise, in Maestro. And I really do think she completely immersed herself and disappeared into that role. And it didn't even feel like I was watching Carey Mulligan on screen. You know what I mean? And then Lily Gladstone being obviously the centerpiece and the heart of Killers of the Flower Moon really drives home the grief and the guilt, and makes the audience connect to the entire Indigenous community that was affected. And Emma Stone in Poor Things was nothing short of like a miracle of physical performance, of tonal performance, of a vocal performance. She just did everything in the utility belt of an actor, and she was able to work with such a large spectrum, from being childlike and babylike to being a fully fledged adult with intelligence. And I just found the transformation of the character to be unbelievable. And she really, in my opinion, this is her best performance of her career.
One of the most interesting characters in the year for cinema was Bella Baxter. Just completely wipe a human being clean and then just reset button. Like what would happen with them? Really interesting.
Is that a weakness of men? I guess so. And the winner for Best Actress in a Leading Role for the Raiders of the Lost Oscars is Emma Stone.
Congratulations, Emma.
It's a lighter clap.
We can just do a clap sound effect from now on.
Oh, yeah, do a clap track.
Yeah, clap track. Well, you're editing this episode, so you can do a clap track. Emma Stone, congratulations for winning the prestigious award of Raiders of the Lost Oscar. Putting it at the top of her shelf above her other Academy Award, I'm sure.
Put it in front of the Oscar.
Yeah, it's more important. And, she's absolutely sensational in this movie, and she's had such a career full of incredible roles and performances, but, Belle Baxter in Poor Things is so memorable.
And it's something that, as the weeks have passed since I saw the film, and seeing the rest of the performances, I'm like, Emma Stone really was incredible as Bella Baxter.
Incredible. Let's move on to our next category, Best Actress in a Supporting Role. The nominees are Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Niad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. A stacked category. Some all-timers on here. Jodie Foster's an all-time great actor.
Oh, yeah.
She's up there, and we all know her. She's such an iconic actor. And Emily Blunt is one of the best actors of her generation, for
I don't
sure.
like your tone.
Danielle
I don't like
Brooks,
your phrase.
incredible in the musical The Color Purple. America Ferrera had that great monologue in Barbie and just a great role as well. And then Divine Joy Randolph, just an excellent Boston accent and an excellent performance in The Holdovers.
I believe it's Devene.
Devine Joy Randolph.
She's unsubscribed now.
Thank you for the correction. But there can only be one winner.
Yeah, I loved all these performances, and I was shocked to see that Emily Blunt, this was her first nomination for an Oscar.
Was it really?
It's her first time being nominated. You would think she would have more.
It seems like a no-brainer that she'd have like several nominations.
She's so good. Yeah.
Surprised. Wow.
Me too.
Pretty shocking because she probably has a ton of BAFTA nominations.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, she must have BAFTAs.
But there can only be one winner for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, and this is going to Deveney Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. Really the heart of that film.
Yeah.
There's three main characters in the movie, and her character has gone through so much trauma and grief, but also has a positive spin on life still and tries to keep pushing forward. And Randolph was so terrific in this role. And when it comes to Boston accents, it's not easy to pull it off. And we've heard a lot of crappy Boston accents. Even in The Departed, there aren't a bunch of great... There's some questionable Boston accents, but I think it's one that's tough to do authentically to people from Massachusetts to pick up on and be like, that's really solid. I think she did a really terrific job. It sounded like she was from like West Roxbury, Boston.
I'm gonna need you to drive me to Roxbury.
Yeah, exactly.
There are varieties of the Boston accent too.
Yeah.
And she honed in on a very specific one.
Yeah.
Then the thing about The Holdovers is it's a comedy, but it's also a tragedy. And the characters are all defined by their own tragic backstories leading into the beginning of this film. And hers is, it's hard. It's like hers is definitely the most tragic. And it's what I loved about The Holdovers is it was like I was watching three real human beings. And they felt like true, authentic people in this story, which is a testament to all three performers. Just really, they had an incredible chemistry. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the SAG for Best Ensemble, even though it's only three actors, but that's how good they are in this film together, bouncing off each other and working as a trio. Once the movie gets going, it's really just them three. And I adored all of them on screen together. And she, in a lot of ways, was the glue and the heart of the film. Great, great performance. All right, next up, we have the category of Best Animated Feature Film. First up, we have The Boy and the Heron from Hayao Miyazaki and Toshio Suzuki. Elemental from Peter Sohn and Denise Ream. Nimona from Nick Bruno, Troy Quayne, Karen Ryan, and Julie Zachary. Robot Dreams from Pablo Berger, Ibon Cormenzana, Ignacy Estape, and Sandra Tapia Diaz. And then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse from Kemp Powers, Justin K. Thompson, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Amy Pascal. Very strong category this year. Mm-hmm. But there can only be one. There can only be one winner.
You can't say that every category.
Highlander can only be one. Best Animated Feature Film. We're giving the Raiders of the Lost Oscar to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's just, I think, in terms of the sheer magnitude of the creativity of the animation, it was a really stunning set of beautiful artistry that I saw on screen that I've never seen anything like it before in my life. It really was groundbreaking. And being a person who isn't devoted to animation, I found myself to be just floored by what I was seeing in terms of the scale and the spectacle and the visual feast of it. Plus a very good story, a very charming cast, and led into a really fun finale. Cliffhanger leading into the third film, whenever that comes out.
Whenever it does. I don't think we're going to get it this year, but Across the Spider-Verse was an epic second film in this trilogy, Empire Strikes Back-esque film from the filmmakers. And Across the Spider-Verse was excellent, visually stunning, and the best animated feature of the year, but it was close.
Close call.
Second to The Boy and the Heron, I think, was a frontrunner for us for a little while. It's just an excellent movie from Miyazaki, but you can't give Jordan the MVP every year, can you?
Can't give Michael Jordan the MVP every year, man. Can't do it. Gotta give it to Karl Malone sometimes.
Karl Malone.
He won it one year over Jordan. Yeah. Everyone was like, what?
Even Karl Malone was like, what? I didn't even know.
Cool. Remember that Jazz Bulls rivalry for like 5 years?
The
90s.
It was
Being
good.
a kid watching
John Stockton.
Oh my God, watching NBA playoffs in the 90s as a kid was nothing like it.
NBA Jam.
What a time to be alive. Jazz versus Bulls.
90s NBA was peak NBA.
Fucking A, man.
Peak NBA.
Fucking A.
Let's move on to one of our favorite categories on Raiders of the Lost Oscars, Best Cinematography. And like Anthony said at the beginning of the film, this is maybe one of the toughest categories to choose from because so many visually stunning movies. Our nominees are El Conde, or Edward Lachman for El Conde, Rodrigo Prieto for Killers of the Flower Moon, Matthew Libatique for Maestro, Hoyte van Hoytema.
Soft T, Hoyte.
Hoyte van Hoytema for Oppenheimer.
Nice.
And Robbie Ryan for Poor Things. And you could have thrown in so many others in here.
Yeah.
Mateo from the cinematographer from The Iron Claw.
Yeah.
You could have put him in here.
Linus Sandgren from Saltburn.
Yeah. Or Matthias. And then
yeah.
So many great films that just look terrific this year. And it was a very strong category, not just for these nominees, but again, you could throw in 5 other movies that would be deserved for this award.
Also, a bunch of these films shot on film. Poor Things, Oppenheimer, and Maestro shot on film. Killers of the Flower Moon shot partially on film. And then even Iron Claw shot on film. Saltburn shot on film. So film very much is still alive and still desired by filmmakers for creating something special and something that is timeless in its quality and its feel. And I think in the late 2010s, there was so much fever for digital technology. And it looks like a lot of filmmakers and even audiences are craving more film, especially those who understand the difference. And so I'm so happy to see so many films that were shot on actual celluloid to be nominated, and that were also some of the best films of the year that didn't get nominated. And I just got to say, I mean, what Matthew Libatique did in Maestro was phenomenal.
Just the first 10 minutes of that movie is
incredible camera
pulls
work.
your hair back.
And just everything was done with so much intention and so much intention. They weren't just shooting coverage; they were shooting and having the camera tell the story just as much as the story and the dialogue, which is just phenomenal. Hoyte van Hoytema is really one of the greatest DPs of all time, especially the last 10 years of his career. And he's done everything from digital to film. I mean, he shot Spike Jonze's Her with digital, made that look incredible. Never seen a film shot digitally like that before. And then he's shooting with IMAX celluloid, which is just insurmountably incredible and massive, and the scale of it and the information there, it just is really beautiful. But it's not just the quality, but like the way he shot Oppenheimer, it was just astounding, and every decision that he and Nolan made was perfect. And I think that they transitioning from black and white to color, it just worked so beautifully for the story. And again, that film cinematography had so much to add to the storytelling, and there's just so many great looks.
You can just shoot with 70mm or 65mm film on set.
Yeah,
in IMAX film. But just because you're doing that doesn't mean it's going to look great. But Hoyte knows how to take advantage of the medium and use it so effectively.
He just, Variety just did a 20-minute interview with him on YouTube. Check it out. I watched it last night. Great insight into his process on that film. And then Poor Things from Robbie Ryan, using different film stocks, aspect ratios, colors. It was just a visual feast of camera work.
Warped lenses, fisheye lenses. It's really creative, but that's sort of just something that Yorgos does in a lot of his movies, just interesting camera
extremely
angles.
wide.
Yeah, just like out of nowhere, there's a fisheye lens, and you're like, I haven't seen this since like a GoPro video.
But then you look at the approach to the cinematography, everything in the first act, Bella Baxter is off most of the time shot from a low angle. I mean, from a high angle. No, from a low angle. Most of that first act of black and white footage, it's all shot from a low angle from like the perspective of a child. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it's black and white is because she still doesn't know much about the world at all. And then becomes more colorful and very saturated as she explores the world. And then the lens starts reaching her eye line and then even going above her sometimes. So it's a great translation of the metaphors and paralleling what's happening with her character transformation.
And the winner of Best Cinematography at the Raiders of Lost Oscars ceremony is Hoyte van Hoytema for Oppenheimer. Just an epic in every sense of the word. One of the best shot films of the century. It's just sensational what he pulled off. And visually, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it before in my entire life. And like I said, just really taking advantage of the 65mm film on set from IMAX and just using it to its fullest potential and capturing some of the most incredible imagery I've seen in my life, whether we're dealing with the explosion or just intense, beautiful close-ups or just the nuclear realm, the atomic realm of matter is really sensational.
Even, I mean, a Goosebumps moment was the shot of the helicopter shot in the clouds.
Yeah.
With that beautiful, huge IMAX frame. It was just unbelievable. Like, I just, like, got goosebumps when that shot. Thanks, man. All right, next up, we have the category for Best Costume Design. Nominees are Jacqueline Durand for Barbie, Jacqueline West for Killers of the Flower Moon, Janny Yates and Dave Crossman for Napoleon, Ellen Miroknik for Oppenheimer, and Holly Waddington for Poor Things. Really incredible set of nominees. With Oppenheimer, it was extremely accurate, and it made you feel immersed in like you were really in that period, although it's not as flashy as other films. Napoleon was phenomenal costume design. from the soldiers to the aristocrats to the poor. Just really great work.
To Napoleon's hat.
Napoleon's hats, those huge hats. And then Killers of the Flower Moon, sensational to see both that area of the country's period setting looks and then also the indigenous costuming. Just wonderful to see. Barbie, I loved the use of actual Barbie outfits from the past, from the toys, and then just creating iconic meme-ified looks like everything Ken wore, basically. And then Poor Things was just as creative as the filmmaking was and the performances were. Holly Waddington just got to have fun with it, and I saw great interviews with her talking about how Yorgos was just like, he trusted me to just do what I wanted and express my creativity no matter how absurd it got. And every outfit suited the world perfectly. And some of Bella's looks were just some of my favorites of the year by far.
It just seems like a dream job for a costume designer. That movie, Poor Things, just do whatever you want. Be as elaborate, as interesting and fun as you can be.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, the winner for best costume design from 2023 is Holly Waddington for Poor Things, for all the things we just said. Congrats, Holly. Dream come true.
Just the dresses that Bella wore. Every scene, she's in a different beautiful dress. I'm like, this is like one of the best parts of the movie is the costume design, 100%.
And the suits for the male actors were phenomenal. And then I love the lab outfits of Willem Dafoe in that character.
It's just like one of those dream jobs of I can get as creative as possible in a movie. Why not?
Absolutely.
Let's move into our next category. We have a big one.
A biggie.
Best Directing. Our nominees are Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. Incredibly stacked list. We have all-timers on here. Martin Scorsese, arguably, possibly the greatest director in the history of cinema, the history of American cinema. Jonathan Glazer, who's just been a regular staple of consistent filmmaking and excellent filmmaking. Yorgos, one of the most interesting filmmakers in the world. No one has a voice like him.
He's so cool.
Justine Triet, Anatomy of a Fall was one of my favorite films of the year. What a movie. What a picture.
What a picture.
And Daddy, Christopher Nolan, of course he's going to get nominated for Oppenheimer.
Zaddy. Jonathan Glazer's not as consistent. He's only made like 4 movies.
No, but like every one of his movies.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean.
They're
like,
all great, yeah.
Like you can depend on his movies to be very good.
Yeah. Great point.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
I'm not saying like he's Ridley Scott.
He's like
a movie
prolific
every 2 years.
every year.
No, I mean like every time he's got a movie, you know it's going to be a banger. You know it's going to be excellent.
I gotta say, out of all the categories this year, this is probably what I think is the most accurate for nominees.
Yeah, I would say that too.
I don't think a single deserving director was left out. I think every one of these nominees is perfect.
It's a pretty good category.
Yeah,
They did a good job with this category.
They're all phenomenal. It's great to see Justine Triet in this because she just blew the doors off the chain with Anatomy of a Fall, and it's not just the screenplay.
Blew the doors off the chain.
Yeah, you know what I mean. However that phrase
Anthony
goes.
Invented an idiom. I
Yeah,
like it.
It's my idiom.
Blew the doors
Blow
off
that
the chain.
door off that chain. You got that chain there. Guess what? The doors are getting blown off. Justine Triet's here to blow them off. And then Scorsese proving that he's still just the GOAT.
Still got it.
From the 60s to now, he's still making the best films of the year whenever he makes a film.
Yeah.
And that's like, what other filmmaker can say that? So many other great filmmakers had drop-offs. But like to be making this films at this scale and the quality this is his 60th year making movies. Started in the late 60s.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Around there.
It's a six decades. So the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 10s. I mean, zeros, 10s. Seventh decade of making films.
Yeah.
He made one of the best ones of the year.
He's never going to
Isn't
stop.
that crazy?
He's always going to be making movies.
Yeah, they should freeze his head like Walt Disney one and then try to reanimate him.
Well, whatever the billionaires are going to be using soon to like, prolong life, just give it to Scorsese.
Yeah, give it to Marty. And I mean, just everybody just floored me. Someone who I thought also did an amazing job was Bradley Cooper. But you can't nominate everyone.
Sean Durkin, the Iron Claw.
Yeah, you can't nominate everyone. I think this is just a really great list of filmmakers, and it's so exciting to see this mix and this bunch. But there can only be one.
The winner of Best Directing at the Raiders of the Lost Oscars goes to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, his best film. what a remarkable achievement in filmmaking and artistry, and what a vision to have. Probably the best biopic ever made, and also one of the most successful rated R movies ever as well. It's incredible to take the story of the creator of the project behind the atomic bomb and make a movie that's so entertaining and engaging and well made and artistic, and still take the world by storm with it and almost gross $1 billion with it. Rated R. That's absurd. That just doesn't happen unless Christopher Nolan makes the movie. He's that remarkable of a filmmaker.
It's a landmark.
Congratulations. If he doesn't win an Academy Award for this, I'm fucking never watching the Oscars again.
For real?
Never watching the Oscars again.
He also better get a standing ovation when he wins.
He should. He deserves.
They didn't give him one at the Golden Globes. I was like, no standing O? No standing O? Come on, guys.
Because they all hate him. They're all jealous. No, they all love him.
But they all love him.
No, they're all jealous.
No one's jealous of Chris Nolan. He's deserving.
No one's jealous of Chris Nolan?
When because he's someone who built his success because he earned it.
Yeah, but the word envy exists, Anthony. People feel feelings. You don't think anyone's jealous of Chris Nolan?
No, well, I'm talking about anyone in that room.
I bet you 95% of the room are jealous of Chris Nolan.
Really? Did you ask them?
Did you ask them?
Did you ask them?
I don't have to. It's Hollywood. All anyone cares about is success.
Everybody loves Chris Nolan.
I know they love him, but that doesn't mean they can't be jealous of him. I'm fucking jealous of Chris Nolan, aren't you?
No.
Dude, that's fucking...
No, because I think he earned it all.
I'm not saying... That doesn't take away from earning it. Do you understand what jealousy is?
I understand. I'm not jealous of Chris Nolan. How can I be jealous of someone he's just been doing amazing work?
What?
I'm not jealous of that.
I'm just saying that you're saying that an entire room of people in Hollywood aren't jealous of his success.
No.
You're crazy, man.
I'm not.
You think very highly of Hollywood.
No, I just think that when someone like that, it's like, who's jealous of Steven Spielberg?
Everybody.
No one's jealous. What are you saying, everybody?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, everybody?
What do you mean? Like, that's amazing. I wish I could do that.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's jealous. Everyone respects it.
Being jealous doesn't mean you don't respect somebody, though.
Yeah, it does. Jealousy is a negative emotion, and it ties
Not
into
necessarily.
envy. Yeah.
You can have both. You can respect the hell out of somebody and be like, "Mom, man, I wish I was Spielberg.
No,
I wish I could have made movies like Spielberg."
Okay, there might be a couple people in that room jealous, but you're saying everybody is jealous, which I don't think is true at all.
Quite a bit. I said 95%.
You said everyone in that room.
Run it back.
You said everyone in that room.
95%.
And you just said everyone in that room is jealous. You just said that.
You said nobody's jealous.
No, I don't think people are jealous of Chris Nolan.
That's crazy.
In that room. I think everyone's like, this guy deserves the world. This is
you
amazing.
can do both. You can do both.
I don't think so. I disagree.
It's Hollywood,
I disagree.
Man.
Uncut Gems, I disagree.
It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood, bro.
I disagree.
You think way too highly of Hollywood.
I don't think highly
Let's
of
move
Hollywood.
on to the next category.
Anyways, moving on to film editing. Our nominees for the category are Laurent Secnical for Anatomy of a Fall. I butchered that. Oh, Laurent. Sorry, Laurent. It's got the T at the end. We got Kevin Tent for The Holdovers. Thelma Shoemaker for Killers of the Flower Moon. Jennifer Lame for Oppenheimer. And Yorgos Mavrosaridis.
Those Greek names, man.
Mavrosaridis. There we go. I got pretty close. Again, another great year for editing. Thelma Shoemaker has been editing Marty's films since they were in school together. It's just a long-time collaboration, and she's just as much a part of his filmmaking as he is. So many great... I mean, Anatomy of a Fall was expertly crafted. Very precise film. And it's just like every shot, every edit really mattered. The Holdovers, very subtle, very minimalist and slow with its pace, but for a great reason. And then Your Poor Things, Yorgos had just so much great footage to work with. It was such a delight, and I really enjoyed everything about that movie. Jennifer Lame, her use of she had 4 different film stocks to work with, and aspect ratios changing, and yet she never made it feel like you were seeing the change happening. It really flowed so beautifully, and it's a dense story, so almost 3 hours long, but it flew by. It just flew by. Like when it ended the first time I watched it, I was like, that was almost 3 hours. That didn't even feel like it, just because the pacing was perfect, and she kept it entertaining, even though 90% of the film was just scientists talking in rooms or politicians talking in rooms, and it was just like an incredible feat of editing, and I think that this is just going to go down as an all-time for that category.
Well said.
Thanks. I thought I messed up at the end there. I kind of trailed off.
We're all waiting on bated breath for you to finish, man.
No, they fast forwarded.
I did.
In your brain. Do you have anything to add?
No, I said great stuff.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
So, the winner for Best Editing at Raiders of the Lost Oscars is Jennifer Lame for Oppenheimer.
Bravo. For
Incredible.
everything Anthony said.
Yeah.
You know, it's a difficult film to edit. Like you said, 4 different film stocks, 3 hour long runtime, jumping around different time periods from Oppenheimer's youth to his elderly age.
Yeah.
It's really incredible what she pulled off. Really, really terrific editing.
Big time.
Our next category is Best International Feature Film. We have Io Capitano from Italy, Perfect Days from Japan. In case you don't know, Io Capitano means the captain. No big deal. Society of the Snow from Spain, which is actually the second time that movie's been made. It's a remake.
I think it's the third time it's been made.
Is it the third time?
I think it was a miniseries too.
That's right.
It could be the second time though.
The Teacher's Lounge in Germany, and The Zone of Interest from the United Kingdom. All incredible additions
This
to
is a stacked
the year
one.
of cinema.
Yeah, stacked.
Tough choice, tough
Yeah.
decisions all over the world right here. And, you know, I think there's a couple favorites and front runners, but Society of the Snow is maybe one of the most interesting stories because it's based on real events. And,
Might be the most watched of this list.
and that's a Netflix film, streamer. Io Capitano from Italy, also sensational. Perfect Days in Japan. Japan's been killing it the last several years in film. But the winner of Best International Feature Film at Raiders of Lost Oscars is The Zone of Interest. One of the most remarkable films of the year. So well directed and so well crafted. Really, really interesting filmmaking in terms of hiding dozens and dozens of cameras in this house, in this location, exteriors, interiors, inside walls and attics and floors, and not letting the actors know where the cameras are, especially the child actors not really knowing where they are at all, and just kind of capturing the feel of the family in the mood of their environment and atmosphere to make it feel as realistic as possible, almost not like a movie, but like you're just watching a life. You're watching a family. You're watching real life almost at the same time as it being an insanely interesting story.
Yeah, because there's really the camera doesn't move at all.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single camera movement in the film. It's just static wides. There's no close-ups at all.
Many over-the-shoulder shots or shots of characters' backs as well,
Yeah.
which is really interesting filmmaking.
Yeah, Glazer, he created this like tone of like you're voyeuristically watching this family from afar. And it's not really like you're watching a story unfold. You're just watching a place and a period at a very specific moment in time. And I think that not showing the camp was an incredible decision as well. But hearing the camp, that was where the power of the film came from, where this movie is just a great exercise in juxtaposition, where you're getting a shot of kids playing in the yard, but then the train filled with Jews chugging along in the background. You see the smoke, the plume of smoke of the Germans bringing the Jews to the camp. And that's just a remarkable piece of juxtaposition, which he did so many times. And then using sound design where the kids are, like the mom's picking flowers, and then you hear a gunshot in the distance or someone screaming from inside the camp. Clearly, like a Jew is being killed or being maimed or tortured. And this idea that this family was created like an oasis, and they kept the husband and wife kept talking about like, this is our home, this is a perfect place to live, a perfect place to raise our children, but it's literally connected to hell on earth. And so it was just these juxtapositions were just incredible. And it's when you want, I've always been like, there's always seems to be too many World War II movies, too many Holocaust movies. But this is it's a new take on it, which I was like, okay, this is a new way to tell a story and to make audiences think about it in a different way. And I would say probably the most powerful part of the film for me was the final 5 minutes where we cut.
Well, don't spoil the movie. For
Sorry,
people
so
who haven't seen it,
okay. Sorry.
Jeez.
Okay, so it has a powerful ending. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Shit. It's a great ending. Whew, close call.
Typical Anthony over there. Anyway, so the best part of the movie is the climax where.
But man, and it's just unbelievable.
Let's take a moment to have a break and tell you about our sponsor of our show and the best way to support the show, which is by joining patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. It is the best way to support our show because it is a subscription-based form of support where you get all kinds of perks based on the tier of membership you have. You get access to ad-free versions of every single episode, which you can also link with your Spotify and listen ad-free on Spotify. You get access to our Discord, which is an incredible film community. We're on there chatting with you. We have watch parties. We just watched Hot Rod last week with all the Discords, which was an absolute blast. Over 100 people are in there just chatting it up and talking about film and cinema. Not to mention, another great way to support the show is leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'd love to read the written reviews out on Apple Podcasts, the only platform you can leave a written review, but leaving a 5-star rating, anyone can do. Even if you don't have iTunes, you can just log in and sign up with an email address. You can leave us a 5-star rating review. And why would you want to do that on Apple and Spotify? Because it helps the show grow, helps us get seen on the platforms, as well as at 5,000 Apple ratings, Anthony's going to select a tattoo for me to get on my body somewhere. Preferably not the face or the ass. Another great way to support our show.
How are you going to explain that to the ladies?
Another great way to support the show is just share us. Word of mouth is the best way for a podcast to grow organically, especially word of mouth. Share us with your family and friends who love cinema, who love movies, who love any of the movies that we talk about. We talk about new, old, recent, present, future movies every week. Many episodes.
Movies that don't even exist.
Movies that you haven't even thought about yet. We talk about them. So if anyone's interested in that, share the show with them.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the number one place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now. We're doing a movie poster giveaway in this episode. So if you want to win a free movie poster from movieposters.com, all you have to do is head on over to our YouTube channel and make a comment in the Raiders of the Lost Oscars episode that enters you in to the movie poster giveaway to win a free movie poster from movieposters.com. So good luck to everybody. Make a comment in this episode, Raiders of the Lost Oscars on YouTube. Movieposters.com has a huge selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. These are incredible posters at a great price. So be sure to go to movieposters.com for all of your poster needs and use our promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order right now.
Let's get back from our commercial break.
Commercial break, I love it.
To get back into this year's Raiders of the Lost Oscars.
What about our intermission?
I did not do an intermission.
Well, I did one, so you can try and guess
All right,
myself.
sorry, I forgot.
Clearly. I was like, what's he doing?
All right, I'll do half an intermission.
Yeah. All right. This is two people talking. Hey, Mike, this might sound crazy, but I don't think that kid's dangerous. Really? Well, in that case, let's keep it. I always wanted a pet that could kill me.
Say it one more time.
Hey, Mike, this might sound crazy, but I don't think that kid's dangerous. Really? Well, in that case, let's keep it. I always wanted a pet that could kill me.
I have no idea.
Monsters, Inc.
Oh, my God. That's really good.
All right, what year did Bridge on the River Kwai come out?
1985.
57.
I have no idea what that movie is.
Oh, it's a war movie.
Yeah, I have not
great.
I've not heard of it. As soon as you said that, I'm like, pick a decade and just stick to it. Just stick to a gun. Just pick anything. It's not like you made that movie up. What year did The Ground is Hot come out?
The Ground is Hot. Oh my God. The Ground is Hot.
From the sun beating down on it. Full title.
Who directed The Wild? Into the Wild.
Oh,
who directed Into the Wild?
That's Sean Penn, bro.
There we go.
Sean Penn.
There we go. You got one.
Spicoli.
My streaming recommendation this week is Priscilla, which was just added onto Max. So if you never got to see Priscilla in theaters, Check it out on Max right now. It's really
I
good.
forgot Max made that deal with A24 for all their distribution streaming platforms.
Yeah, any A24 movie, you're going to have to see them on Max. So they got a good deal in there. I have a couple unsubscribes as well. So John Mondello wrote in our Dune episode, can't believe you guys are from Massachusetts like me, but then moved to Cali? Unsubscribed! How dare we? And then Jenna Chica wrote on our Letterboxd recap, every time you say ball rag, I spit out my coffee. Unsubscribe. And then
That's just how we say it now.
Yeah, ball rag. It's just funnier.
It's just funnier.
It's how J.R.R. Tolkien intended it to be said. I saw an interview with him. He's like, it's not Balrog, it's Balrag. My favorite comment of the week was C. Martindale wrote in our Dune Everything We Know episode, I honestly could care less about Dune, but the way these guys get so aroused talking about it makes me actually want to see it.
Oh, you can see that? I guess the camera angle's too wide.
Shows everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Must have been the pants I was wearing.
They're
Can't be wearing gray sweatpants on the show.
It's the male camel toe. Camel tail.
Ball, dick, ball. It's like a division sign.
Yeah, they're too tight. Those are way too tight. Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Sick reference, bro. References are out of control. Let's move on to a 5-star written review from Duck Butterson.
Nice.
Great name. Huge fan. 5 stars. Love this podcast. Y'all talk know your movies and are a great combo. You have me cracking up most episodes.
Thanks, bro.
Love to hear it.
Appreciate it.
Duck Butterson.
Doug Butterson. What a great
I
name.
wonder if that's their real name.
I don't think their name's Duck.
I think it's a good chance that they're named Duck. That's a pretty good chance.
Doug Butterson.
Why else would they put Duck Butterson as their username?
Nobody puts the real name for the username on Apple.
Sure they do.
Zero people
For
do.
example,
Zero people do.
let me pull up another real name. Tim613. That's probably what they were given at birth.
613.
Mommy plus 8. Eternal Wreck. 1994.
All real
These
names.
are real names.
All real
Anthony.
names.
So Duck Butterson is definitely the
I
real
stand
name.
corrected.
Thank you. Thank you, Duck.
Duck is actually in the top 10 of baby names of
Do you
2024.
think anyone's actually named their kid Duck?
I think people have named their kid everything.
Well, yeah, probably. There's probably someone named Duck
Yeah, there's probably
in
someone named
America.
Duck.
Not like in a different language, but like Duck in English.
In English?
in America
I don't
or
know
like
about
an
that.
English-speaking country.
Let me go on Facebook and see if there's a duck.
Well, because there's definitely duck in other countries, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
other
mean, and
languages.
different words have different meanings. So, like,
Do they? Is that what? Dude, don't talk crazy to me.
a
right
word
now.
a word in one culture would be
Or could
different significance in a different culture.
if
yeah.
it's even said the same way.
Let's see if there's any ducks. People on Facebook. Duck.
Yeah, just search duck.
Donnie Duck.
No, I need a first name.
Donald
Duck.
Hopkins Duck or Hop. Duck a C. Marley. I found one. There's a duck. They're real. They have 1,000 friends.
Is it really? Does it seem like a first name?
Yeah, it's their first name. Yeah, Duck Juan. Yeah, there's a couple ducks out there, man. Duck Chi. Duck. Yeah, there's a lot of ducks. It's the most common name in the world, it looks like.
Anyways,
Thanks, Duck Butterson.
let's get back
Who
in-
thought we would be talking about duck for 2 minutes?
as a name. I think I might name my first child Duck.
DD. Duck Deveney.
DD.
All right, let's get into our next category, which is Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Nominees this year are Karen Hartley, Thomas, Susie Battersby, and Duck. I'm just kidding. Ashra Kelly Blue for Golda, Katsuhiro, Kei Georgiou, and Laurie McCoy Bell for Maestro. Louisa Abel for Oppenheimer. Wow, she handled both hair and makeup departments. Nadia Stacy, Mark Coulier, and Josh Weston for Poor Things. And then Anna Lopez Puigserver. Sorry, that was a tough one. David Marty and Montse Ribe for Society of the Snow. What a lot of these have in common is aging their characters, or with Society of the Snow showing deterioration of skin and faces through the elements. I thought that the aging makeup on Bradley Cooper for Maestro was really remarkable, and they did a great job in Poor Things as well, aging all of those characters up subtly, and I just was floored by Poor Things. And my favorite makeup of the year was Willem Dafoe's face makeup for Poor Things.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And on Maestro, Katsuhiro, he's been around. He's worked on some of the best movies in terms of prosthetics. You know, he did Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman.
Right, yeah.
He did.
He brought him out of retirement for that, right?
Bombshell. So he
Okay.
he transforms people into other people. His work is just sensational. And I watched a montage clip or what's it called, a time-lapse clip of the makeup that they did for Bradley and the prosthetic work. And like once they're done with them, it's a different human being. It's really incredible.
And what's really how the advancement of the prosthetics over the last couple of decades is it doesn't look like it's a person wearing an old mask anymore. It does look like it's real skin, and they're doing a great job of showcasing like this. It looks like there's real muscle tissue moving as they're speaking and acting and performing. It's not like their face is frozen like it used to be. And so the advancement of the technology is just getting so realistic. And even Gary Oldman as Truman looked phenomenal in that makeup. So the prosthetic work in the film industry is just getting so incredible and so believable nowadays.
It's almost Mission Impossible-esque.
Yeah, legit. They make it seem too easy, though.
True.
The winner for Best Makeup and Hairstyling for 2023 is Poor Things. The combination of both these, Willem Dafoe's makeup, and then so much fun with the hair and makeup for everyone else in the cast, matching the bizarre, absurdist nature of the costuming and the production design. I just had a blast with this film, and I loved Bella Baxter exploring different looks and evolving as a woman. And the hair was really my favorite hair of the year was as it kept growing and to the point where it was like down to her caps, the long black hair of Bella Baxter. I thought that was just so fun.
I concur. Deserving award.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next category, Best Music for Original Score.
Nice.
We have Laura Cartman for American Fiction, the GOAT, John Williams for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Which is great. It's a great score.
Robbie Robertson for Killers of the Flower Moon, also incredible. Passed away.
Yeah.
Ludwig Göransson, Oppenheimer, and Jerskin Fendrix, Poor Things. You know, John Williams for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, there was a good part about that movie, and that was it. John Williams' music.
The music was great. And
the
theme for Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character.
Helena.
Yeah, Helena's character.
You already forgot her name.
Yes. I want to forget everything about that movie except for the music. But it's one of the most beautiful themes John has written in years.
Yeah, it's
up there. It's a stunning theme.
It reminds me of when he wrote Rey's theme for Force Awakens. That's my favorite song from the whole new trilogy of Star Wars.
Yeah, Rey's theme is phenomenal. Yeah,
it's really terrific. Robbie Robertson really did a terrific job. He's done some work with Scorsese in the past, and they've been friends for a long time. Former rocker, guitarist, just a great musical mind, and he brought so much of that southern music, that southern rock, the guitar riffs, and
the blues
that style to the film. In addition to creating such original, beautiful compositions, and passed away a few months after, like a month after the movie came out, I believe, right? Or before the movie came out.
Yeah, a week before its release.
Yeah, right before its release, which is tragic. So, obviously saw the movie, I'm sure, obviously, but passed away before it came out. And Ludwig's the most exciting film composer right now, I think, in terms of his age, being like I think he's under 40 still. Mm-hmm. And he's just so exciting. He's the new guy. I think he's the new GOAT, and he's terrific. And Jerskin Fendrix, really creative with the Poor Things score. It's sort of, that movie is a mix between fairy tale, steampunk aesthetic, and the music kind of matched it really well, I think, with Jerskin.
Yeah, the music was just as unpredictable and chaotic as the film was, and really cool tones, really cool ideas, and really unique. It reminds me of what Mika Levi does sometimes with their composition. The string work was really inventive in that film. It was great. But what Ludwig did was amazing. And there's a great 20-minute spot. I think it's with Variety as well, where they interviewed him. He actually showed his timeline on his computer, and he only had like 13 tracks deep for like the main themes. Like it's very simple but complex. Like you look at timelines sometimes and people will have like 100 tracks, but his was so minimalist, which I think led to the strength of the score. And it was just great to see his process from start to finish and how he writes a theme. And he said that the theme, my favorite part of the interview was he and his wife, the violinist in the score, they spent 10 hours trying to come up with like a theme for Oppenheimer, but then they were just trying to do something big and grand. And then they did a 10-hour session, and at the end of the session, like they were finishing up and they were packing their things up, about to leave the studio, and then he just like came up with like a little idea, and he walked over to the piano, and he came up with like just a simple 6 notes that ended up being the emotional heartbeat of Oppenheimer's theme. And then he realized it comes from the character first and the emotion first, and then we'll build off of that. So that's where the beginnings of the Oppenheimer score came from, was just like those 6 notes on the piano that he just came up with out of nowhere.
And the winner of Best Music and Original Score at Raiders of the Lost Oscars is Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer. Anthony just went into an 8-minute rant of why, so I think we just leave it at that.
And that's all I got to say about that. Next up, we have Best Original Song. The nominees are The Fire Inside for Elemental, I'm Just Ken for Barbie, It Never Went Away for don't know what, I can't remember what movie this is from. I didn't write it down. Whatever it is. Sorry.
Never mind. Let me look
it up. Wazaze, Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon. And What Was I Made For Barbie as well. So 2 songs from Barbie. A great set of songs for this year. What we got for that?
Isn't it American Symphony?
Oh, American Symphony.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, never mind. You got it.
You're good.
Yeah, thanks, man. The winner for Best Original Song is What Was I Made For from Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell for Barbie. Really beautiful, stunning song. It worked so well. With
Anthony read the wrong envelope, everybody.
Oh, sorry.
Anthony read the wrong envelope. Hold on.
My Wi-Fi's not on.
It's not La La Land.
Hold it up.
Why don't you ever have your Wi-Fi on? The actual winner of Best Original Song is I'm Just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a friend.
Anywhere else I'd be a 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just said, fuck it, let's go. I'm Just Ken.
Where I see love, she sees a friend.
Do you have the lyrics?
Oh, let me read. Oh, here's the chorus.
Do a performance.
And I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the tan and fight for me?
This is my favorite part of Barbie.
That was my favorite. Well,
The whole musical sequence.
yeah, that was my favorite part too.
The whole musical number.
I was so excited that whole thing.
Yeah.
the whole piece.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
That entire sequence, it was so much fun.
It is a
and it's
blast.
like, obviously, What Was I Made For is a deeply emotional and beautiful song, but I just love the fuck it attitude of I'm Just Ken. Of like, let's just do this fucking
It's the
ridiculous
anthem.
song.
This is the song that people remember from the movie.
Yeah.
No one sings What Was I Made For. People are singing I'm Just Ken. They know
Yeah.
it. That's the song.
Yeah.
It's like the theme of the movie.
It was so much fun. And for me, it I'm Just Ken dance musical number made the movie for me.
Same.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part, hands down. And I actually snuck in. I was very early for the movie.
Oh my god.
And I snuck into Barbie after I'd seen it, but I wanted to see I'll sneak into Barbie. It was in IMAX. I'm like, I had 20 minutes to kill before my movie opened up doors. And I got there right in time for the entire Just Ken, I'm Just Ken song and then the dance number. And
That's great.
It was amazing.
Fantastic.
It was the best because I love the dance number. I love the fight in the beach and then going into the black suits like the grease dance. It's my favorite part of the movie.
It's great stuff. Great stuff.
So I saw that twice in IMAX, actually.
I'm Just Ken. Next up, we have the category of Best Production Design. How about you list off the nominees?
Yeah, you
I stole it.
jumped the gun on that one, Anthony. Best Production Design. One of my favorite categories. We have Sarah Greenwood and Katie Spencer for Barbie, Jack Fisk and Adam Willis for Killers of the Flower Moon, Arthur Max and Ellie Griff for Napoleon, Ruth DeJong and Claire Kaufman for Oppenheimer, and then James Price, Shona Heath, and Zusa Mihalik for Poor Things. Tough category, tough year because production design is one of the most, I think, underappreciated parts of cinema and filmmaking. And we're huge fans of production design in film. And this year had astounding production design. I mean, Barbie was so cool.
Yeah.
To make just massive Barbie sets, basically. Just translate a Barbie play set, a house, a car, but make that a world and make a reality out of that. And it, commercials do stuff like that. We've seen that commercials forever, but to do that with an actual feature is so fucking cool. Because of Flower Moon is exceptional. Napoleon, massive sets, really beautiful locations. And then Oppenheimer getting very creative with set decoration as well. And
So Ruth DeJong, the PD of Oppenheimer, there's a great video from one of the magazines about her process, and the Oval Office scene, they had to build the set the day before they filmed.
No
because
way.
they had booked an Oval Office that has been used many times in film and TV, but then they lost the location like a week before filming that scene with the Harry Truman scene with Gary Oldman.
Wow.
And they were like, can Gary Oldman film any other day that we can get that studio set up? And Gary Oldman's team was like, he's only available this day for the rest of the year. And so then Ruth DeYoung, so she's talking to Chris Nolan. She's like, we lost the location. He's like, you're going to have to build it. And so
He's like, sounds like a you problem.
yeah, exactly. And so it's like Ethan Hunt in the train in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. He's like, you have to stop the train. She's like, how? He's like, you'll figure it out. And so Chris Nolan basically said, okay, you're going to have to build it. And the paint was drying the morning they shot that scene in the Oval Office.
That's incredible. That's like SNL, man. They have like 2 days to build sets or less than a day sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. But they pulled it off, and it's great. Great little tidbit from that movie.
What a great anecdote, Anthony. Thank you for sharing that.
I watched all the Oscar campaign stuff through the past month, so.
Well, the winner for Best Production Design is going to James Price, Shona Heath, and Zusa Mihalik for Poor Things, which was just so creative and inventive. Again, sort of this crazy blend of fairy tale, steampunk, Industrial Revolution. Is really fascinating to see just the locations where they were on top of the roof or inside the structures or inside the buildings of the scientists or on the cruise ship or in these restaurants, these balconies, these other countries that kind of don't exist. And it was just really beautiful and creative, and it was really inventing a new world.
And it was comparable to Barbie, where so much of it was shot inside of sound stages, but it looked remarkable. And I love the huge LCD backdrops they put in there. And that's part of production design too, and that's iconic imagery from the films, even just from the first photos released with the skies behind Bella Baxter on the boat. And I loved how there was like only a couple of moments actually filmed in real exteriors, just a handful, mostly like walking in the park and stuff. And otherwise, they built everything, and it was just such an impressive display of production. All right, next up, we have Best Sound, one of the most underrated after production design. Another one of the most underrated categories.
And this is one they morphed into one category.
Yeah, so it's sound mixing and sound design are now sound. So we have The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. Really great stuff. And I'm glad that generally really big, epic movies most often get recognition for these. So it's nice to see Maestro in here. It's nice to see Zone of Interest in here, much smaller films. Oppenheimer's sound design was unbelievable. It's terrifying, especially the sequence of the speech and him walking out and just hearing the screams and the lack of sound, the omission of sound, and then obviously the huge explosion, the delay of the sonic boom. It was just unbelievable, and sound was such a major element of that film. The Zone of Interest was remarkable. Maestro, sound design is just remarkable. And then the mixing, especially of the orchestral sequence and the operatic sequence of the dancing musical number. Just phenomenal stuff. The winner, though, for Best Sound of 2023 is The Zone of Interest. Tarn Willers and Johnny Byrne win. The Zone of Interest, like we were talking earlier, the juxtaposition of you're in a peaceful home setting, but you're hearing just randomly sprinkled throughout the entire film, you'll hear the screams of someone in the camp or a gunshot or German soldiers yelling. And the brilliance of the film comes in that we never saw the camp. We never see an image of the camp. We never see anybody inside the camp. Not a single shot. But we hear it in the background. And that it's all the sound design that makes this film worthy of the win. It's all just sitting in the background. And so we're seeing the perfect home, perfect yard, the perfect place to raise children. But behind all that, behind that curtain is horror and there's hell. And Jonathan Glazer's team of sound mixers and designers capture that essence perfectly.
Moving on to our next category. Best Visual Effects. Nominees are The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. Many of these are very deserving. I'm surprised Oppenheimer didn't get in this nominee list, though.
Yeah.
Another surprise.
Yeah.
However, I think this was Marvel's best-looking film, visual effects-wise, in years, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh, yeah.
It really looked terrific when you compare it to movies like Ant-Man 3 and some other recents in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Guardians of the Galaxy looked flawless visual effects-wise. CGI looked incredible. Godzilla Minus One, we all know, the small budget, but the incredible visuals of that film. The creator looked excellent as well. In Napoleon, awesome. Ridley Scott, he blends CGI and effects in his movies really well, as well as a ton of practical effects. Tons of practical effects in this movie. And Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, it's a Mission Impossible movie. Got to put it on the list.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
epic. But the winner for Best Visual Effects at the Raiders of the Lost Oscars goes to Napoleon. Charlie Henley, Luke Ewan, Martin Fenouillet,
It's a long name.
Simone Coco, and Neil Corbell. Yeah, it's a 7-name name, like Dumbledore. And Neil Corbell win Best Visual Effects at Raiders of the Lost Oscar this year at our ceremony. The thing with it is because visual effects isn't just CGI. It's a blend of everything you're capturing in camera with effects that you're doing in post.
The special effects.
Really? Never mind. I was incorrect about that, everybody.
So the reason why we gave Napoleon this award is I thought the majority of it was practical, but then since it's Oscar season and studios release videos about every aspect of production, and I love watching, and I watched all of these actually for most films in one day. I watched the visual effects houses. They do a reel of what they did on whatever film they worked on. And so the visual effects of Napoleon was incredible. So many sequences, so many of those battle sequences, all CGI, all visual effects. And whether they're shooting a bunch of locations where they were really shot there, but they're expanding with CGI all of these soldiers, these armored like details, like the camps, the embankments, so many great visuals. The explosions of the boats, this explosions were visual effects and CGI, although most of the boats were real. But I was just so impressed because when we watched the film, I was like, man, Ridley did so much of that practically. And then you watch the visual effects reel and you're like, holy shit, that's actually not practical. That was insane visual effects. That was so good. It tricked me into thinking that they had all these soldiers really. Unbelievable visual effects because it was masked so beautifully.
Seamless visual effects.
Well deserving. And I mean, overall, the production of Napoleon was just dynamite, man. Dynamite.
Sure was.
Dynamite.
Let's move on.
We got up next is Best Writing for Adapted Screenplay. Nominees are Cord Jefferson for American Fiction, who won the BAFTA, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach for Barbie, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Tony McNamara for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. This is a very stacked lineup of adapted screenplay nominations. American Fiction was probably the funniest movie of the year. Biting comedy, so much fun. Zone of Interest for its minimalism and subtlety. Poor Things, just some of the best lines of the year. I must go punch that baby. Just great stuff. Barbie was so much fun. And then Nolan's adaptation of American Prometheus was otherworldly. And so the winner for Best Writing, Adapted Screenplay, is Chris Nolan for Oppenheimer. His adaptation of American Prometheus was just a scorching tale. He brought so much depth to it. I like the dark tone, especially with the ending. And he showed that this story is still relevant and it's still timely. And it's something that we should never forget.
It's Oppenheimer. I think this is Nolan's year. And for us, it's Nolan's year for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get to our next category. We have 2 left. We have Best Writing for Original Screenplay. The nominees are Justine Triet and Arthur Harari for Anatomy of a Fall, David Hemmingson, The Holdovers, Bradley Cooper and Josh Singer, Maestro, Sandy Burke, story by Sandy Burke and Alex Mechanic for May December, and Celine Song, Past Lives. What a great year.
Yeah, tough list.
Really, really tough list. We have a biopic in here, but we also have just incredible stories, incredible characters created by all of these screenwriters and filmmakers, and it really is terrific. But I think for us, there was a clear winner, and it was Anatomy of a Fall. Justine Triet and Arthur Harari. I think really just a couple of scenes sold this movie for me for best original screenplay.
Yeah,
And
yeah, 2 scenes.
if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil what the scenes are, but they're incredible monologues. But the idea of the story and the concept is just sensational. Of this woman who's being tried for the murder of her husband after he falls and slips and falls from their house and dies on impact.
Or does he slip?
Does he slip?
Yeah.
Was he pushed?
Was he
Did he
pushed?
slip? It's icy. It's snowy.
Yeah.
Evidence is washed away by rain. It's a very clever idea, very clever writing, but then just adding such a great dynamic of the family element with the son who's blind and didn't really see what happened, even though he knows the environment so well. But just adding that in as a catalyst for her being guilty or not in a major part of the trial. It's just so fascinating. It's such a brilliant idea, and the performances are so well acted, but the characters are really terrific in this movie.
Yeah, he's partially blind, by the way.
Yeah, partially blind.
And I mean, we had a great love story with Past Lives from Celine Song. Beautiful film. May December was a really interesting story, really interesting screenplay. Maestro was stunning, and then The Holdovers by David Hemmingson. Incredible script. I believe it's his first produced script.
Yeah, it is.
What a great debut as a writer. I mean, I love The Holdovers. But Anatomy of a Fall, it was just such a strong story and so well written. And like you said, it's 2 major scenes that really did it for me. And I'm so happy it's getting a lot of attention, like especially online. People will keep posting about, especially that scene in the home.
Yeah,
the husband and wife scene. Like that's getting so much love.
I think
for me, like
scene.
And I also loved her monologue in the courtroom when it was like when they had the psychiatrist on, the husband's therapist, like that. Her monologue there for me, like that was unbelievable. What a great way! She had so much logic behind her, and she was using reasoning and logic where everybody else was trying to use emotion to show her as guilty. Yeah. She was using logic and reasoning to show why she's innocent, which I thought was so intentional.
If she's innocent.
Yeah, if she's innocent, and so smart. What's interesting is Justine Triet, Sandra Hüller asked her before they started filming, is she innocent or not? And Justine Triet said, play her like she's innocent, but I'm not going to give you an answer. Mm-hmm. So I like that approach, like play her like she's innocent. That way the audience can really question it.
Yeah.
Very smart. All right, it's time for our final category of Best Picture. We had 10 nominees this year. We had American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. A lot of nominees. A lot of fucking nominees.
It was a big year, man. It was a great year for cinema.
It's an amazing year, and so many of these films are incredible. I'd be happy. I mean, I wouldn't be happy, but I could understand why a few of these could win. Very, very strong year. Anatomy of a Fall is... So my top 3 of the year were Oppenheimer, Anatomy of a Fall, and Killers. And those are my 3 favorites of the year. What were your 3 favorites?
I would say my favorites were probably Oppenheimer and Past Lives, and what else came out this year that might not be in this list that I loved so much? Oppenheimer, Past Lives, and... Give me a sec. I'm just running through the list. What else? Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
Those are my top 3.
And if you're going to put a movie in this list and replace one, what would they be?
That's a good question.
I'll do mine first.
Yeah, do yours.
I would replace Barbie with the Iron Claw.
Yeah, I would put Iron Claw in here, and I would take out... Maybe the same thing. I think I might take out Barbie, too.
Yeah.
I love Barbie so much, but I feel like there's maybe a 20, 30-minute window in the center of that film where it just doesn't have the best picture feel. It's not as strong as the rest of the movie.
I agree.
First act, third act are terrific, but in the middle, it loses me, and everyone I've talked to, they felt the same thing. It lost the audience. So I think when you have a best picture nominee or potential winner, the whole movie has to be flawless.
I agree. It's that middle part of Barbie. It was fine. It was good, but it just was not the same quality as the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And so if you were like going to have a spike graph, it dipped for 20 minutes. It just really dipped.
And it popped in the third act.
Yeah,
The third act transition was terrific.
The third act saved it, but I agree. Like when they were in the real world, I was like, it's kind of okay. It's pretty good, but like not quite there.
I think it could have hit even higher heights if the father was involved.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's a movie. I mean, it's a Barbie movie.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying for Best Picture, Best Picture nominee.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, Laura. And the Iron Claw was just flawless from start to finish.
Top 10 in the year.
Great. So that's what I would do. Now, the winner for the Raiders of the Lost Oscar for Best Picture of 2023 is Oppenheimer from producers Emma Thomas, Charles Roven, and Christopher Nolan.
Woo, let's go.
Best film of the year. It most likely will go down as the best film of the decade, one of the best of the century. It's just going to be a landmark film for the rest of time for anyone who enjoys film and cinema. Oppenheimer will always be looked back as an incredible piece of cinematic achievement, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it's Christopher Nolan's best movie. You know, I've seen it 3 times. I've been digesting it for 7 months now still, and that's the conclusion. That's the conclusion I've come to. The entire IMAX reel took me that long to digest. I think it's his best movie, and that's from a guy who's made some of the best movies ever in this century. You know, I think Christopher Nolan. Finally, it's his year. Finally,
and also Emma Thomas is. I think she's one of the most. She's the most underappreciated producer in Hollywood.
Yeah,
I know. Nobody ever talks about her, and it was great to see her. She was on the cover of a Hollywood Reporter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
deservingly so. I mean, she's produced many of the most loved films of the last 20 years. She's an incredible, incredible film producer. And then Charles Roven, who has been producing Nolan movies since the early days at Warner Brothers. He was always his Warner Brothers producer, Charles Roven. So they've been collaborating for so long, and it's great to see them also finally get the recognition because they've made so many great films together. Yeah. So Charles Roven, Chris Nolan, and then Emma Thomas, producing powerhouse in Hollywood.
And that wraps the Raiders of the Lost Oscars. I'm sure some obvious decisions you knew we'd make.
Yeah.
And
there are a couple surprises.
We've made episodes on many of these films, so check them out if you haven't. But thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Raiders of the Lost Oscars. Be sure to sign up for Patreon today to support us as much as possible. Share us with your family and friends, and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Take care, everybody.
See you next time.
This episode was executive produced by our chosen one patrons, Cody Moen, Andrew Hagan, Benjamin Cook, Calvin Murphy-Griggs, Darian, Tyler McFly,
Mark Nikaj.
Our chosen one patrons are our biggest supporters. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, notifications for sure. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out this other content we have on our YouTube channel.